Welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. Unfortunately, Stan's not with us tonight, guys. His operation didn't go to plan, and he went for a willy enlargement, but they couldn't find it to enlarge it. So hopefully he'll be back with us next week. Good evening, Paddy. Good evening, Anne-Marie. And hello and welcome to everybody in the chat. I'm going to do a name check because you've took the time out to come and join us, so it's only good. Ethan, good evening. Big Morg, good evening. Good evening, Sally. Good to see you. Alec, DC, Keith, Stevie, Belfast, thank you for being a member, my friend. Captain Harris, Harvey, Jack, Sean, Scrubber, Stuart, good evening, Stu. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Listen, loads to get through tonight. However, I had my little rant last week, but everything's going to be just positive. Good evening, Pardo and Elliot. Listen, Wolves 2, City 1. Not great, Anne-Marie, but as we've just been speaking about, you've got to take positives out of negatives. And for me yesterday, I'm going to stick my neck on the line straight away and say the two positives for me was not outstanding performances, but something to build on, and that was Oscar Bob and Calvin Phillips. I'll let you go first, Anne-Marie.
Well, unlike you, I'm struggling to take the positives out of that. I'd like to, just wondering who Kovacic was actually playing for yesterday, because he seemed to spend most of the game giving the ball to them. We needed to see somebody encouraging the team and trying to get them to raise the game a bit, and I didn't see Walker do that yesterday. And that's not slagging off look, we all have bad days at the office, but we just didn't create anything yesterday.
I know you do, love.
But we didn't create. I mean, be honest, Andy, how much did we create yesterday?
Nothing. And you know something, I still think as well, it was a bad, listen, it's an old adage, bad day at the office. It was a bad day at the office. I don't even think if Rodri was playing yesterday, it'd have made any difference, because I just think it was one of them games where...
Yes, it would.
Why, Paddy?
Because our whole... I just think Rodri missing was the straw that broke the camel's back. You're missing De Bruyne, you're missing Silva, you're missing Rodri. That's them three are starting every game for us. So we had an almost brand new midfield in there. With Mateo, Nunes, you could argue Foden's but
right.
Mateo and Nunes are not defensive midfielders, so we didn't have a defensive midfielder on that pitch yesterday.
Right, let's get straight into it via next 7, because I think it's an absolute great point what you're making, mate. And I just was out of curiosity, I just went through our next 7 fixtures. How professional does that look, eh? Right, so the next 7 fixtures, 4 Premier League matches, which is 2 home and 2 away, and 3 Champions League matches, 2 away and 1 home. I'm not really fussed about the Champions League at the moment. I want to concentrate on the 4 Premier League. So if you look there yourself, we've got Leipzig on in the week. Then on the 8th of October, which is next Sunday, we've got Arsenal away, which for me that is a big, massive match. That, however, it's not going to be title defining because we give them an 8-month start, didn't we, last season? So, and then we've got an international break. Now, I hate international breaks, but I'm considering this a blessing in disguise. So we can look who we've got injured. Let's go through the injuries. We've got KDB, John Stones, Bernardo, Grealish is only just back. Kovacic has just come back again. And we've got Rodri suspended. So for me there, I'm not going to be too downhearted on yesterday's result because I do actually think this time, I don't know what you think, that the international break will actually be a blessing in disguise this time round, so we can get those guys back.
Yeah, providing we don't get any injuries returning to us.
Yeah, get that. But again, we can only deal with what we've got at the moment. And what we've got at the moment is Jack will probably go away with England, which, again, it's match fitness, because he's quite clearly not match fit at the moment, because he's not going to be, because he's effectively just starting his pre-season again, isn't he, with us? So I don't expect him to be flying. Kovacic has been out for a few games as well. I can't see Bernardo going away unless he's back for. He won't. I can't see him being back for the Leipzig match. But if he's back for the Arsenal match, for me that will be a huge boost. As would potentially Stones if you listen to the media. We've got to do without Rodri for one more game, Paddy. But it's time for these guys to step up, innit?
But do you know, and this is going to sound so contradictory, but do you know what I find very frustrating about us? And I keep saying it. And if I can see it, surely Pep can see it, or the rest of you can see it. Number one, I think the reins has been put on Doku straight away. I don't think he's been as effective as he can be. He's coming back more times as he's going forward. And I can see a change in him and the amount of games he's played already. But what annoys me about that is if you watch other Premiership matches, and it doesn't seem to happen to the other Premiership teams, but if you freeze frame Greedies on the wing or Doku on the wing, there's 2 or 3 opposition players around them, right? So they're not going anywhere. I don't care if they're like Maradona. They're not going anywhere. So surely Pep has to devise some kind of system that there's a give and go that takes them 3 players out of the game, because it's just like, even Douglas says it after his second game, there's 2 players on me all the time. Yeah. There must be something Pep can do that overcome. Look, this is contradictory because we've only lost 1 match. We've won the other 6, not even including the Champions Leagues. But they must, when teams do that low block against us, which most teams do, I find it very frustrating that Doku gets the ball, runs in the corner, passes it back. Greedy gets the ball, runs in the corner, passes it back. There don't seem to be any kind of like counter plan. They overcome their defensive strategy against us. And it's the same then in the other wing when if it's Foden or Silva, whatever, there's 2 or 3 on him. So like if you take into consideration there's probably 2 on Haaland in the box and there'll be 2 or 3 outside, that's 5 out of 3 players taking up 2 of our players. Surely that we can devise some kind of strategy that gets that ball into that box faster, because there was a stat there online about 4 or 5 days ago, even before the Wolves match actually, in terms of build up, the coming into the opposition half. City were stone last, and they were last by a hell of a lot. You know, like if you watched that Spurs and Liverpool match yesterday, that was lightning getting into the box. Lightning. We don't get that.
Listen,
it's all too slow. The whole build-up is too slow.
But I'm with totally what Sally's saying there. We're a class act. Form is temperate. I think we have gone a little over the top. We just overall had a poor day. I absolutely think that is bang on the money.
Well, that's what I say. I'm being contradictory, but I'm just saying I find it very frustrating. It works, obviously, because we're winning matches, you know, and I think Haaland's winning matches for us. But I just think I just find it so frustrating that Pep doesn't devise a plan that overcomes Doku or Grealish or Foden or Silva getting marked out of the game or not being able to get the ball into Haaland.
One thing we've not had yet this season is every player available, which for me, that is I'd rather have that now, early doors. And let's not forget, we've only lost 1 match. For me, there's two factors as well, Anne-Marie, yesterday. Yeah, Pep Guardiola sat in the stands, in the director's box. Is that influential or
Of course it is.
Mm.
And for me, and I don't slag Pep off, but it shows his stupidity
Mm.
to have gotten 3 yellow cards so early in the season.
And he's been missing how long, Amory?
Exactly, with his back operation. It's
well,
like
two
it's
of them.
like
To be fair, two of them was his back, but I agree with you. It's a little bit, if you're trying to, instill discipline and stuff like that, it's got to come from the top. However,
Alvarez twice this season, at least twice this season, he's
ball
been
away.
booked for kicking the ball away. It's pure stupidity. These fellas haven't got the brains they were born with.
Sexist.
Yeah, exactly. But that, it's true.
It's very
So-
hard to recondition yourself just to walk away from a ball after spending years doing the complete opposite. But they're going to have to learn because, as you say, Alvarez was booked twice for it already this season. So, it's stupid
So-
yellow cards.
Let me ask you both a question yesterday. I was a little bit miffed that Wolves didn't go down to 10 men before the lads scored. I thought, was it the end of the first half? That was a second yellow without a shadow of a doubt. But are we putting too much blame on officials making that as an? I'm certainly not making it an excuse. I just put it down to I think it was what Sally said before, where I'm just putting that down to a bad day at the office. And in my head, I know that the fruits are going to come to us once we've got all our players back. But it's a key point because if he wasn't on the pitch yesterday, he wouldn't have scored.
To be fair, I haven't seen clearly enough the incidents.
It was
So
live on TV.
So I can't actually comment on it. But what I will say, I was listening on the City app to the commentary, and they made a point of saying that the referee had given us nothing throughout the game.
Didn't.
So I can only go off what I'm listening to.
But how many times have we seen that? But if we do what we know we can do, we don't give the officials, an excuse to either not send somebody off. If we're doing what we need to do, like playing to our maximum, which we're going to do more often than not this season, we won't be giving people the chance to derail us, Paddy.
No. Once we have all the players back, the football will do the talking at that stage. As regards referees and officials and all this kind of carrying on and feeling hard done by, I tell you, if Rodri is playing against my team, I'd want him booked 2 or 3 times a game because he's quite effective at what he does, and he doesn't pick up yellow cards for it. So you can't have your cake and eat it.
So what? And this is a good point as well by Pardo Wokes. And as you know, I've sent you the thing what we, some of the things what we're going to talk about tonight. Can Rodri play against Leipzig? Yes, he can. It's a domestic ban. But one of the things I've put, does Rodri start against Leipzig, or do you give, or do you give Phillips, Nunes, Kovacic minutes on the pitch to acclimatise, if you like, coming into the Arsenal game at weekend? Because if you're playing together, you're going to gel a bit better. Whereas if Rodri dips in and we've got 2 or 3 of the others on the bench, that's not giving them that opportunity to get match prepared against Arsenal.
No.
Pep won't go with it.
I get what you're saying, Andy, but from my point of view, I'm going to say, do we want to lose 3 matches in a week?
There's no guarantee.
I don't think no, but there's more of a possibility that we will. So I think you have to start and play Rodri on Wednesday night. You've got to.
We've got to learn to play without him because. And by the way, on a side note, I think he will be targeted now when he comes back in the Premier League.
But you can't say that, Andy. You can't say we have to learn to play without him. That's the Liverpool saying, "Oh, we have to play without Salah or Diaz or any other players." What I do take your point about having the machine well oiled for Arsenal or the system kind of players knowing each other. But what I'd like to see in Germany is Rodri and Phillips start and leave Matteo and Nunes on the bench, because as good as they are, they're ball carriers and they're good at passing forward and stuff like that, but they're not defensive midfielders. And Pep has made that point about Phillips. When he wants to protect the lead, he brings him on because he does what he like. Look, he's not players back along always. Your Nigel de Jongs, Fernandinho, stuff like that. They never got the praise that they get now because they've always done the dirty work, and them players never really shine out. One criticism I would have Phillips is, and this will come in match practice, he's not mobile. Like if you watch Rodri, when he gives the ball, he moves in a position to receive the ball if the case needs to happen. Phillips gives the ball and he's stationary. He's not very mobile.
So would you expect Phillips to be at the same standard as Rodri? Because I don't, because it's a chasm, mate. He's the best CDM in world football. So we're comparing apples to oranges, aren't we?
There's nobody in that Premiership like Rodri.
But I'm not concerned in any way, shape or form, Anne-Marie, because what we keep hearing is Arsenal are off to a flyer, Spurs are off to a flyer, Liverpool are off to a flyer, City are going through a little bit of a dodgy run. We're top of the league. What's all the meltdowns for? I'm more than happy the way our season's gone. 7 Premier League matches gone. We've won 6. We've lost 1.
I would agree with you, Andy. I think we've actually started really well. I think, if I'm 100% honest, I think our results have masked our actual performances, because I still think we have the issue of the slow build-up. There's too much passing backwards and sideways, and what we need to do, particularly when we're playing against a back 10, is move the ball quicker, because Haaland doesn't stand a chance when he's up against a static back line. We need to move the ball quicker.
Can I take you to task a little bit on that?
Go on.
Because I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. Passing backwards, slow build-up play. That'll be eliminated when De Bruyne's back, when Stones is back, when Bernardo's back.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Andy, but I can only talk about what we're seeing in front of us at the minute, because it's all if, buts and maybes when the rest of them are back, and if they all come back together, or if we don't get any more injuries in the meantime. So for me, we've got pace with Doku and I think Alvarez. Why are we not using it? Because it is too... and Haaland, and it's just all too slow at the minute. We're becoming predictable.
I get
it's a bit like every time we got the ball yesterday, it was out to the left to Doku. They knew exactly what we were going to do. So there's no element of surprise there. So no wonder they could easily stick 2 or 3 players on him. Yet there might have been somebody out wide on the right that had nobody with them. And it's because it's like, you can tell from the start of the game which way we're going to play.
Do you agree with what Elliot's saying there? I do 100%. For those who will be listening on just the audio version of the podcast, I'll read it out so you know what we're on about. Elliot's put, I don't like losing, but can take it. Unlike some people in brackets. I know what you mean there, mate. My problem is the fan base. Kova, who I think is class, yeah. Played poor yesterday, yeah, get that. If that was KP yesterday, wow, wouldn't hear the end of it. I absolutely agree with that, and because I'm old-fashioned, me, and I'm sure most of you guys are in the chat as well, where I support anybody in a City shirt. It doesn't really matter to me, whether if it was a Scooby-Doo and he had a City shirt on, I'd want Scooby to play well, but it's not like that now. Like we're seeing with Doku, we won't see the best of Doku until next season. I tell you that now. He'll have brilliant games, but can you remember, and I've said it on the podcast before, where he will frustrate the life out of us. He really, really will. That's not because he's a frustrating player. It's because he's trying to acclimatise to a brand new league, which the hardest league in the world. But on top of that, exactly what Paddy said about 2 players on him all the time, 2 and 3 players all the time, as does Grealish, by the way, all the time. And on top of that, he's got to acclimatise with his game how Pep wants him to play. So you've got a young lad, 21 years of age, who's trying to adapt to 3 big points in his career. In France, he's got the freedom he'd probably beat anybody, apart from me, obviously, because I was a fairly decent fullback. But seriously, in France, not a problem. We're talking the Premier League here and the toughest league in the world, and the points what I've just said. So we will see the best of Doku, but I don't think this season.
No, you're wrong in that regard.
I'm wrong.
You're 100% wrong. If Pep would leave Doku alone to do what he does,
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Never had that one before.
Listen, if you listen to Jack Grealish's interview, what he says about Pep has a system. Doesn't care if it's working, if it's not working. If you go outside that system, he'll rollick you.
Yep.
So he's telling Doku what to do. When's the last time you've seen, you look at the first couple of matches Doku played, he was running at defenders with pace, and defenders hate that. What did he do against Wolves? Tippy-tappy, over, back, drew. That's coming from one person, and one person only, Pep. He'd be a brilliant player this season if Pep leaves him alone and lets him play his natural game, which is attacking defenders at speed.
Okay, then. So let me ask you a question. We've got all our players back. We've got Doku either on the right or left because we've got that flexibility. And, will we see with Doku a scenario where Pep will say, like Leroy Sané was with us, you stay high and wide, De Bruyne will find you. De Bruyne will find you. You just get ready for them diagonal runs where you don't have to dribble. The lad's got the pace, quite clearly got the pace. So I can see a scenario where we will. It's Pep's trying to make do at the moment. He's just trying to patch the squad up. The players we've got, quite rightly so, Amory, are absolutely unbelievable players. What we've got, however, we've got absolutely even more unbelievable players what are not actually available at the moment. So when you start making your cake, we've got ingredients from everywhere, and with a fully fit squad, we can even put the cherry on it.
Mm-hmm.
Go on, mother.
Well, I'm not quite as convinced that we've got great ingredients as a backup.
Okay then. Let's go through. Right. So at the moment, we've seen the players what we've got, what are available. Mm-hmm. So with KDB to come back, Stones to come back, Bernardo to come back, Rodri to come back, that leaves you've got players like Nunes.
Bench.
Yeah, Nunes bench. That's not
Mateo beside him.
But that's not a bad bench, is it? Because
no,
all you're doing is bringing those out injured, say, into the first team. So the ones who are currently there, who've been doing all right, who've won 6 games out of 7, so they're not that bad. They'll be rotated on the bench and stuff like that. There's no squad better than ours in the Premier League. I tell you that now.
I'm not saying any of them players are bad, but what I'm telling you, when he has a fully fit squad to choose from, Silva will be starting, Rodri will be starting, De Bruyne will be starting, and then you're in the end to choosing between Grealish, Foden, the Doku, or whatever. So, where does Nunes and Mateo fit into that midfield then?
Well, that's what Pep said. Pep was asked the question in his press conference. And by the way, which is a little bit concerning as well, because it's got to press conference level now where Pep's being asked a question, the Doku versus Grealish situation. That is wrong. So Pep quite rightly replied, it's not just, he said, whoever is playing the best gets the nod, and that's how it should be. Because Foden and Bernardo will fall under that. We've got absolutely fantastic options. We just need to get them players back, because, to be fair, with the limited squad what we've got at the minute, they've done great for us. Yesterday was a bad day at the office, and I'm not concerned in any way, shape, or form.
What was Wednesday against Newcastle then?
Well, I thought we was brilliant in the first half. I really did.
The first half, and then it's like we threw in the towel in the second.
It just shows you how bothered Pep was. 1-0 down, and he takes Alvarez off. Didn't bother bringing Haaland on. So for me, that shows Pep's priorities. Yeah, it's sort of like backfired a little bit because we didn't win yesterday. But something shit happens. We've not got a divine right to win every match. And yesterday...
No, I'm not saying we do have a divine right, Andy. But if you watched, obviously I know you did, you watched the first half against Newcastle. If we'd have taken half the chances, that game would have been over at half time.
Yeah,
but we're not necessarily creating enough clear-cut chances.
Yeah, but
we tend to always look for that extra touch around the box.
No, you're right. But if my auntie had testicles, it'd be my uncle. It is what it is. It's just a case.
Andy, what she's saying is right. We're looking for the fucking perfect goal instead of just crash, wallop, bang into the back of the net. We're looking for this thing of beauty at the minute. So, how can we be doing that then?
And devil's advocate, as I always do, as everyone knows I do. So 1 minute, you're both saying we're passing backwards. How can we pass up backwards trying to look for the perfect goal forward?
Say that again.
You've both mentioned about our build-up play is side, back, side, back. But now you're saying we're looking for that perfect goal. So look for that perfect goal.
That's what we are saying. We get to the edge of the box or we get to the touchline, and what do? We pass it back, across. Then we might play it forward. And we've got an opportunity there with a tall striker to play the ball into the box, and we're not doing it.
But like I said, with the players what we have got coming back.
Yeah, but we can't talk about what we've got coming back. We're talking about the here and now. And the here and now is we're not playing as well as we can. We're not playing to our strengths. Thank you, Paddy.
We've won 6 out of 7. We've won 6 out of 7.
Yeah,
would you have took that to start before the season started?
I would, but as I've said to you, the results have overshadowed our performances. Our performances haven't necessarily been great, but we've got the result. And we need to look at, sometimes we have got to move that ball quicker. We've got to try and take the chance and not wait for it to be put on a bloody plate for somebody to put the ball in the back of the net.
Okay, let's go. You're saying we're not. Let's go through our results so far this season. Yeah, and I'm just going to talk Premier League. So let me just. So we started off against Newcastle. Yeah, 1-0.
Burnley.
Oh, hang on, it's not. Oh yeah, sorry, Burnley. We won 3-0. We absolutely slaughtered them. Yeah, people might say, yeah, it's only Burnley. It's a tough place to go, Burnley, and we beat what we had in front of us. Then we was at home to Newcastle. We won 1-0. Absolutely wiped the floor of them. That was a 1-0 demolition. I thought Newcastle was woeful. The tactics were woeful. We came through it. We beat Sheffield United 2-1. Great result, that. Great result. I thought we played okay in the main. Then we beat Fulham 5-1. That probably could have been 10. Considering how close it was against Fulham both games last season. Then we went away to West Ham, which is a tough place to go. And we beat West Ham 3-1. Not a bad result, that. Then last week, we played Forest at home, 2-0. They was probably on par with Newcastle for dirtiness and stuff like that. Then forget the cup game, and then we had the Wolves game. I don't consider that playing the goals we've scored and stuff like that. I don't consider that playing beneath us or anything like that. I think our start to the season has been phenomenal.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is the build-up play, which is evidenced by stats, is horrific.
I'm with Paddy on that completely.
Why doesn't Haddon turn around and say to Ederson, when that defence squeezes up there and the press is on, you hit that ball up over and give me half that park to run into? What I used to do
we did in the second half against Forest.
Do you know why? He can't do that because Pep, as you just said. But I'm sat here as if we played poor all season. I'm thinking, are we in the relegation zone?
You're missing the point. We're not saying we're playing poorly. We have the potential to play better if Pep would take the brakes off. Don't forget Pep went onto that pitch after one of them games and he bollocked Holland for giving out to Silva for not passing, where Silva played the safe pass, where Holland wanted the risky pass.
So, do you think then, I'll ask both of you and the guys in the chat as well, do you think then we would whether you call it, have the brakes on, slow build-up play, if we'd have De Bruyne in the team, with Bernardo in the team? We've not had chance this season to play our full-strength team. So we're playing the hand, what we've been given at the moment. And I think the way we're playing that hand, what we've been given, we've done fantastically well.
Well, why can't we move the ball faster?
Maybe because we've not got the actual players to in that system what Pep wants to do that at the moment. I think Kyle Walker
maybe change the system,
but it can only change the system with the players who we've got. I'll give you an example. Kyle Walker is pretty much isolated on the right side on his own at the moment. We know that's not Kyle Walker's game, but I think Kyle Walker's done brilliantly this season, by the way. I think he started off the season fantastically well. However, what I will say is, do you think when all these players back, Pep will keep Kyle Walker out there on his own like that? No, because he's going to have Bernardo there. He'll perhaps have Doku on the right. He'll perhaps have Foden on the right, but Bernardo on the right, Grealish on the left, interchanging. You'll have De Bruyne, who's the puppet master, who'll be pinging them balls left, right, and centre. You will see the benefit of Kovacic. I don't go off the negativity, what I'm seeing about Kovacic yesterday, by the way, on social media, because
Kovacic had Andy, take off the blue blinkers. He had an absolute nightmare yesterday, and what was obvious is how much he missed Rodri yesterday, because every time he tried to play the side pass, he lost the ball straight to a Wolves player.
I agree.
You can't defend that. You cannot defend that.
I can defend Kovacic because I've said it was a bad day at the office yesterday. Totally bad day at the office. Got that. It's out of my system anyway. I'm not too bothered about that. However, up until yesterday, everyone was blowing smoke up Kovacic's ass because he's had a bad game. Now it's like, oh, it's not his game. And I think you're absolutely right, Anne-Marie, where he's missed Rodri, as that, so he can do that forward bit. But yesterday was it's just a one-off that yesterday.
Yeah, Andy, I don't care about yesterday. I wouldn't care if they beat us 10-0, and I don't care if Arsenal beat us either, because they're only going to go 2 points clear at the start of the season. That's not going to bother me. But you're living in the future. Oh, when we get him back, we get that back, we get this, we'll do this, we'll do that. We have international players on that field at the minute who can pass a ball, or not that they can't. They're not being allowed to. There's a difference. put that pass out to Doku or out the Alvarez or Foden in the wings and attack at pace. They're not allowed to do it. And don't sit there and tell me the international players we have on that team can't find somebody on the wing.
No, you're right. They're all international players. However, I've seen Aki get slaughtered yesterday because he got roasted
twice yesterday. No pace.
No, but what I'm saying is he got roasted yesterday, right? He didn't have a great game. As I said, not many did have a good game yesterday. However, we've seen what Aki's done and even Akanji's done against Saka, Vinicius Jr. So they're not bad players. They've had a collective, and I say it collective, bad day at the office. We can have them.
That's exactly what my point is. Aki is an absolute 5-star player, but he struggled yesterday without Nunes for the run at him at pace, or Neto, whatever you call him. He struggled. Aki is a fantastic player, plus the fact Doku wasn't coming back and supporting Aki, and Aki was stood in the, I don't know how many times I've seen it, on the halfway line, where a fella like Linford Christie or Hussein Bolt running against him. Why not just take that couple of steps back so he doesn't have that space to run into? And Pep is famous for that. He's done it with Walker in the Champions League against that Real Madrid fellow, what do you call him? Victor versus the, I can't think his name. Vinicius.
I'm just going to let you struggle.
Pep is giving them players half the pitch to run into.
Right. So my little, I might be talking bubbles, right? I think the big difference there, when a fully fit, and I must emphasize, a fully fit Jack Grealish complements Ake fantastically well, because we've seen that when Cancelo used to play with Grealish, didn't really work because Cancelo didn't run back. Soon as Ake broke into the team, it complemented Grealish very, very well. And Grealish comes back. At this moment, and I say at this moment in time, we've got a not fully fit Jack Grealish, so he's not starting. We've got Doku, who's new to the club, new to the Premier League. He's not used to defending. He's used to going, shh. So that, and Pep's already said at this moment in time, they not even have time, because all the way the games are coming, to actually do training. They just more or less match, rest, travel, match, travel back, rest. And it's just like that at the moment. We're a victim of our own success. However, once you get your fully fit Jack Grealish on the left, all of a sudden you'll see a different defending level, as you will on the right, where you'll have Kyle Walker. He won't have to play on the right on his own. He'll have a Bernardo there or a Foden there, so you'll get that balance on both sides. And then you'll have your KDB in the middle, you'll have your Kovacic in the middle, you'll have your Rodris in the middle. They'll be there. They will orchestrate then for Alvarez, for Haaland, etc.
Well,
am I talking bubbles?
All I'm doing, Andy, is highlighting that every team we play against who are a counter-attacking team, which is probably 9 out of 10 teams, we get done for pace. That's why Liverpool used to beat us all the time. Ball over the top to Salah, and he's in. Why? Like, the only time I've ever seen Pep counteract that against Liverpool, we beat them. Because we didn't give them the half the park to. Jamie Vardy, Leicester, another example, half the park. He used to love playing against us. When you have your back four planted on the halfway line against speed, you're asking for trouble.
Let me ask you both a question then, and the guys in the chat. With a fully fit squad, which we are going to have a fully fit squad, make no mistake about it, we will have a fully fit squad. Do you think there's anybody, even in Europe, to live with us, our squad? I don't.
Oh, in honesty, probably not. But you're looking, like I say, Andy, you're looking to the future, which is going to be January at the earliest before we have our fully fit squad.
Not really. Right, I'll go back to our next 7.
Kevin is the one that's going to drag this out, because he's not going to be back till Christmas at the earliest.
Right. So I think the biggie for us is let's get rid of Leipzig this weekend and just let's take the Arsenal result for whatever it is next Sunday. Then we've got an international from the 8th of October to the 21st of October. I think that is going to be crucial in our season, not necessarily for the, God forbid, any players who go away get injured. If they come back okay, I think we'll have your Stoneses back, your Bernardos will be back. Well, we're in Bernardo, but whether he's going to be fully fit or whatever for Arsenal, we will have all these players back. So it's not silly of me to be looking to the future to see a fully fit squad and the capabilities what we're going to do. I think I'm actually looking forward more than the 6 results. What apart from yesterday, the 6 victories we've had, and yesterday's result, I'm looking forward and thinking, you know something, all these rivals at the moment are getting giddy because City, they've got all these injuries. They've not thought for 1 minute, we're in the shit here. Once they get all their players back, we're in the shit because there's no team that will live with us.
And that's because they're not looking to the future like yourself.
Well, that's stupid of them then, because you only have to see the way we start.
You know what Pep likes to say, that we only focus on the game ahead of us, the one game ahead of us, not the 10 ahead of us.
Well, that's listen.
So I'm saying if we look forward to Leipzig on Wednesday and what we're going to do, and then after Wednesday we're looking at what are we going to do against Arsenal. Not looking ahead to the fact that we've got the derby in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Do you know what I mean? We've got to kind of just focus on what we're at the minute. And for me, I can't look to the point where come January we've got, fingers crossed, we've got a fully fit team.
Before January, Stones is more or less there or thereabouts.
But Andy, look at the big picture. Stones has been injured for weeks, and not one of us has known what has been the problem. Bernardo, again, injured for the last couple of weeks. No clue what the problem is. We know what the issue is with Kevin, but Kevin is not going to be back till Christmas at the earliest. So Kevin's a massive part of our success, a massive part of the way we play. And so, you know, rather than get carried away and say when we've got a fully fit team back, because we don't know what's going to happen after next Sunday when they all go on bloody international duty. You can nearly guarantee Aki will come back with some kind of a knock, because he generally does.
Right, okay. So Kevin won't be back till, let's write him off till January. Right? That's fine. Stones is not played this season, really, has it? So it is what it is. However, Stones is going to be back. Bernardo is. Grealish fully fit. Kovacic fully fit. Rodri fully fit. Plus the players what we've got. That's, bearing in mind, these players have won us 6 of the first 7 matches. That's not too shabby. So we can take a hit by, and let's not forget, Haaland's also scored, was it 7 Premier League goals in that time. So it's not as if Haaland's on a goal drought, is it? Or Alvarez, for that matter. Alvarez has been sensational for us this season with his assists and his goals. So it's hardly, we're hardly not firing on all cylinders, are we?
No, not once did I say we're playing bad. All I'm saying or bringing attention to is, in my opinion, and I know with Padarokes is that you join a City team and you play the Pep system. Yeah, I'm fully aware of that. Ask Thierry Henry what he did to him in Barcelona, and that was years ago before he became what he is now. I understand that you play the Pep system. I'm just sometimes very frustrated with it, where it gives defenders a chance to reset and block us, where if the ball was coming in faster, and if Doku or Foden or Silva or Grealish was running the defenders at pace, like Neto did the Aki history, it causes panic in the defence.
Okay, so we what Stuart's put there. Stuart's put, I'm not sure what we're looking for the perfect goal. It's not easy to break through a flat back 10. Now, that's absolutely bang on, and that is why Pep originally went away from your Sterling's, your Sané's, because everybody started setting up with a flat, a flat 10 against us. So you've not got that space to run into like Sané used to do, Sterling used to do. So everybody at the moment thinks that Doku's here just to absolutely smash people. No, I think we've already noticed a little bit of a difference in Doku's game. He's not taking. Well, I don't know if it was just yesterday or the game before. He wasn't taking people on like he was trying to in the first match. It was more. He had 2 people on him, granted, but he was also trying to do a possession start of the game, which he's not used to. So everyone thinks we brought Doku in just to absolutely do a Sané job and stuff like that. That necessarily might not be true.
Jack Grealish could do that. We've no need for Doku for that.
But Jack's already said he plays to Pep's instructions.
You better believe he does, or he'd be in the bench.
So what? Okay, what exactly would make you both happy this season then, in respect of style of play and stuff like that?
I didn't say I wasn't happy.
I'm not.
How could you not be happier after 1 of the 6 games out of 7? As this is earlier, I don't care if we lose against Arsenal, because Arsenal are already celebrating each one like we're in the title running. They think during the last 5 games of the season, the way they're celebrating, that is going to exhaust them mentally, because it comes from the manager at the sideline. And if you watch Arteta, it's like a pressure cooker already. And they do not stick it.
On there. By the way, Anne-Marie, Blue Art's bang on there. He says, it's clear to me Pep wants a squad that is totally interchangeable position-wise. He wants players that can multitask and play at the highest level and gear possible. It's a good job I'm not playing for him because I'm shit at multitasking, by the way. But he's absolutely right there, because we've not got a player in a set position, because you only have to see Foden with there. Foden can play left, right, middle, tracks back. You have the Rodri we've seen with Kovacic. You can do that. You can see that with Nunes. You see that with John Stones. He can go forward. We've seen it with Gvardiol when he's played for us, where Gvardiol, all of a sudden you'll see him, inverted more or less into the midfield. You've seen the way Walker is at the moment. Alvarez, where does Alvarez play? Don't know. But wherever he's playing at the moment, it's working because of the figures. What he's putting up there. Haaland's game's changed massively, not for the worse, by the way. But you see Haaland taking 2 players away deliberately to give space.
There's the thing, Andy. Actually, just came into my head when you were talking there about Alvarez. At the minute, Alvarez is undroppable, in my opinion. But when you have your fully fit squad back, where does Alvarez fit into that?
If he deserves to start, he'll start. That's what Pep said. At the moment, Alvarez is undroppable. People might not. I'm not saying anybody on here, by the way, but Alvarez is undroppable at the minute because of the way, because his figures are up there. So he's not really a number 10. He's not really a right wing. His position, if you like, is a bit of a. I'd say a David Silva. He's going into them pockets at the moment.
That's exactly what he is. He's underrated.
He's finding them little pockets. Now, his figures were good last season, and we always said, I remember you saying it as well, a good pre-season with Pep, and you'll see a different Alvarez, because he didn't have a pre-season the season before he joined us because of his club in South America. I think he's been brilliant for us, Alvarez, this season. For me, so far, he's been our play. I know it's only 7 matches, Premier League matches gone, but so far he's been our player of the moment for the start of the season. People don't want to hear that though, because they say things like, "Yeah, well, where's he going to play when De Bruyne's back? Where's he going to do this?" Where it doesn't matter. De Bruyne's not going to be back till at least say January. So let's enjoy what Alvarez is doing, because what he's doing is working.
Couldn't agree more. You
should make me rant tonight.
Calm yourself. But see, Alvarez is his football brain he's 4, 5, 6 moves ahead in his head. He knows even before that ball comes to him, he's turning. He's an absolute nightmare to mark, and he makes things happen. And you know when he gets that ball in around that 18-yard box, the things are going to happen because he's not one for that's scared to shoot from 18 yards either. As you've seen by his free kick, he can hit them. You know so like you're gonna have him and Haaland up front.
Are you ready to laugh at me here? And not all you lot in the comments are going to laugh as well. Do you want to know who he started to remind me of more and more? Alvarez at the minute.
Tevez.
King Clancy. His mannerisms. Listen, his mannerisms and everything are the same as King Clancy. I thought it, and I thought, no, I need to. I know I was going back. I was looking at other footage. He started to be a King Clancy, where a more effective King Clancy, more of a team player King Clancy. I don't mean exact like for like Anne-Marie. I mean his mannerisms, the way he's got that little shimmy and stuff like that. It's just he's upped his game so much so far this season. But however, for whatever reason, he's not getting the credit what he deserves.
From who?
These muppets on social media, mate. Not you.
Clowns on social media. Like
I know.
Any normal, decent football fan that has a basic understanding of the game and has no bias, it's like Alvarez is an absolute joy to watch because you don't know what he's going to do. And whatever runs Haaland et al. Make, he seems to find them. So anyone that thinks that Alvarez shouldn't be on that pitch is in dreamland.
No, I just think there's a lot of positives rather than the negatives. What we're seeing, I'll say collectively, not necessarily from bloody Injun bracket here with me.
We're only speaking the truth, Andy.
No, you're talking bubbles. Big aero bubbles you're talking tonight.
Okay.
What's in that Coke you're drinking?
I'm not telling you. No, it's just normal Coke, mate. No, I just think there's a lot of reasons to be cheerful so far this season. I just don't want people to start getting dragged with the social media hysteria of what we've seen over the past 24 hours about it's the end of the world, doom and gloom, and we're top of the league and apparently we've not played well. So imagine,
with the greatest respect, right? Are you seeing Anne-Marie what he's seeing? Because I'm not.
No.
On social media.
No, but then I'm more selective about who I read.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. Yeah, I don't listen to just any Tom, Dick, or Harry.
We don't follow morons.
He's lucky I follow him half the time.
Yeah, I think we should ban him for a week.
So yeah, I just think we've been playing really, really well this season. I don't know where Injun bracket have gone. Isn't this more comfortable? Feels more warmer already. This. What was you doing then, Anne-Marie? Not nice, is it? How come you've ended up on top of Anne-Marie now?
He always was.
Anyway, so right, we've got Leipzig in the week. Let's move on there because I think we've exhausted how wrong you two are and how right.
And you're following a load of morons on social media who upset you.
No, it's not. It's not necessarily the ones I follow, mate. It's the ones what I see being retweeted and stuff. So I just expose them now rather than
people who are retweeting them. You only ban them, and then you won't see it. You'll be happier.
Rodri, does he return for Leipzig, or do you get continuity with what we need it to be against Arsenal.
Rodri
100%.
I agree. The reason why I agree, we'll need Rodri getting some minutes in his legs to keep him up to speed. But who else would you go with on? Is it Wednesday we play or Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, because we play the Gunners, don't we, on Sunday? So
we'll start at the back, and move forward. So start in the middle of the park.
I think Gvardiol is nailed on to start.
Yeah,
against his old club. I think that'll be for Ake.
Yeah.
Akanji, for whatever reason, Pep loves him because he does exactly what Pep wants him to do. After telling him once, he seems to do it. Walker, Diaz. Who would you put them? Cena's, right? Nunes wasn't great yesterday. I think the crowd got to him a little bit there yesterday as well, a bit intimidating. Considering he didn't have the best of matches yesterday, Nunes. Neither did Kovacic. So, is that Calvin? Would you put Calvin in there with Rodri?
You just named 5 defenders.
I didn't.
You did? Go through them.
I didn't. I named Ake, but I said he won't start.
He won't.
Ake? I don't believe so.
Right. So who's your back four?
My back four, I think what will be, I'll go from left to right. It'll be Gvardiol, Diaz, Akanji, Walker.
Right. Happy with that.
So if Rodri's going to come back in, who is going to be in the middle there with him? Me, I would go for Calvin Phillips.
No.
Absolutely.
Why not?
No, I'd play Nunes.
Why?
Because I think he needs to get a bit of confidence after yesterday.
Don't Calvin?
Phillips doesn't.
I'm still not convinced on Mr. Phillips.
You're pissed, aren't you?
No.
You sound it.
Just because I don't agree with you, Andy, doesn't mean I'm pissed.
No, I think there's nobody more deserving at the moment than Phillips in there.
Well, just tell me what exactly he's done.
I think he was okay against Newcastle. I'm not saying he set the world alight, but what I'm saying is he did not do himself a disservice. I thought when he came on yesterday, he did okay. Not set the world alight, but he did okay, as did Oscar Bob. So for me, it was something over the 2 games he's played, he's been involved with. I think it's done in the world of good. Everyone was saying, he needs to either go or he needs to get minutes. He's got minutes, so surely that's something to build on.
Yes, it is, but he isn't mobile enough for our team.
And Pep has said that if he's playing a particular system, that he doesn't get it. Just the way he says Walker doesn't get it, the inversion from the right back in the midfield. But what I think a lot of City fans, and I'm going to include myself in this, I think any midfielder we sign is going to get compared against De Bruyne, or if it's a defensive midfielder, Rodri. I don't think that's fair because you can't compare anybody with Rodri because he's on a league of his own.
Spot on.
I'll expand it out a bit so just to make it easier. Would Calvin Phillips start, I would say, in 15 Premier League teams, week in, week out.
I'd go with that.
So now our fans want someone who would be a regular starter to leave our team and weaken us. That part I don't get.
I'm exactly in the same boat as you there, Paddy, because like we keep mentioning, and I think it's a point what has to be keep being mentioned. We're asking somebody to do or be better than the world's best CDM. You're not going to get it. It's like asking somebody, it's like asking a striker to come in and score more goals than Haaland.
No, but then at the same time, Andy, when Rodri first joined us, and obviously we had Fernandinho, according to the majority of our fans, Rodri wasn't a patch on Fernandinho.
He wasn't
when he first joined us.
No, he got called Plodry.
Yes, so we've had that, and now he's built his way up, and he's the player that he is. And it's harsh, I know it is. I don't think Phillips has got the intelligence to make that step up.
But it's only one way to find out, and that's to play him.
No, she's right in what she's saying. But you're asking Phillips to play a game that he doesn't play. It's like asking Haaland to be a centre-back. Phillips is not that Rodri type player. Phillips is a defensive midfielder. That's all he knows. Keep the ball away from the back four, put in tackles, challenge. You seen what he did against Newcastle, and he did it again with Wolves. He challenges. He mightn't actually spray out 50-yard balls, whatever, out to the wing, but that's not his role. His role is to stop the attacks or break up the attacks or the counter-attacks. You know, it's like people clapping when Ederson makes a save. That's his fucking job. You know, forget about spraying balls 100 yards here, there, and everywhere. Your main role as goalkeeper is to stop that ball going in the back of the net. Anything you do after that is an additional extra. Phillips, the same. Stop the attacks. Anything extra, happy days.
I just want to say, Julie, you've misspelled issues with concerns. Paddy has issues, not concerns. No, I get. Joking aside, I do get that, and that's the beauty of it, because you know that's the beauty of opinions and stuff like. I just think we've been fantastic this season, and it's interesting for me to hear like what you two have been saying about the slow build-up play and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, we've scored a lot of goals. It's not as if we've not scored any goals. We've scored a lot of goals. Yeah, okay. We're being perceived as a at the moment. There is stages in games where we do build up slow. Granted, I'll take that. I'll take that one. However, you have to play with the hand you've been given. And at the moment, we've got a lot of offensive players, not defensive, got a lot of offensive players missing. So that is just natural. You can't expect a Kovacic or a Nunes to be a De Bruyne or a Rodri or a Bernardo or a Foden, can you really?
Well, I'm telling you, you better get used to playing me out De Bruyne, because he has about a year and a half left. And he's the last surviving member of the old team. He's there. How long was he there? 9 years?
8. But once he gets his fitness, he will be signing a new 2-year contract.
Yeah. But his legs won't. He won't be the same player. Not after all them injuries.
And that's the beauty about bringing players. I see Foden as his long-term successor. I really, really do. I think it's just made for Foden that role. So surely once we get the others back in, and I keep saying, I've said it 100 times, once we are fully flying, right, and everybody's back, you will see De Bruyne rested more games, because he cannot do 60 games, nor can Rodri. So what you'll see then is players who are competent enough to come in for the lesser games, if you like. So you'll see a Nunes, a Kovacic, a Phillips coming in for your Rodri. You'll see your Foden or your Bernardo coming in for your De Bruyne's and stuff like that. So by doing that, you're prolonging De Bruyne's career with us, which is only a plus. So if we can get another 2 years out of him because he's not having to play 60 matches a season, then that's a massive, massive boost for us.
Yeah, I agree. But it's unfair of our fan base do you think that any player is going to come in and replace Rodri?
Nobody can.
Because if that player comes in and is replacing Rodri, it means he's either of equal importance or better. And that means Rodri's going to be in the bench 50% of the time. I don't think he's going to be too happy about that.
But we've had this issue before, and it's like you said earlier, some of these players don't ever get the credit that they deserve. So if you think when De Jong went, who was going to replace De Jong? And then Fernandinho came in, and Fernandinho initially, didn't look like he was up to the game. And then look at him. Rodri came in. We weren't all convinced to begin with, but look at him now. And that's, there's nothing to say that that's not that's not going to happen again in the future. And we have to give any of these players that come into us at least a season, because it takes time to settle into our team. And that's one of the things that I think with Phillips, I was always prepared to give him a season. And while I'm not saying that he isn't, he should go, I'm saying that I'm not convinced his intelligence is up to our level of footballer. That's
not
right.
Not in the first 11, Emery, he's not, right? There's very few players are, in fairness. There's very few players get it, Like, what's more concerning to me is when you have the manager coming out and saying he can't get the best of them.
Yeah.
That's
so we're on about players replacing players, la di da di da. I get that, but we've already seen they don't necessarily have to be a like for like replacement, but sometimes we tweak the system because like God forbid when Rodri's not there, right? We've seen
there's not enough tweaking of the system to say that Calvin Phillips gets a regular place in that team. No way. Calvin Phillips was bought to fulfill the English quota, and I honestly believe that's it. I'm convinced of it, and I'm just not sure. Oh, for God's sake, Blue Heart. Blue Heart, I'd crush the two of them.
Fucking Jesus. That's not just type of a show.
Have we gone 9 o'clock yet?
But I just think that, I'm not convinced that he's up to anywhere near our standard, Phillips.
You see, Emery, that's you're right in what you're saying, but for the starting 11, yeah. But he's a very good replacement to have, because if a player can leave us and walk in the 15 teams or other teams in that Premiership, he's a good player. The Palmer Cole, whatever you call it, or Cole Palmer, went to Chelsea. He couldn't get in there. Latvia left. That Taylor Harris Bulis, whatever you call him, he's gone. He's not going to get in there. Like, you have to see what's front.
Say what?
That THB, whatever you call him.
Taylor Harwood Bellis.
Him, yeah. But you look at all them players that have gone out who are walking in the Premiership teams and can't get into our team.
We're gonna get that though, aren't we? Because we, as I say, we're comparing apples to oranges. Yeah. I like both apples and oranges. So some days I like an apple, some days I like an orange.
I'm telling you, Calvin Phillips is a very, very good player, very good player. And I'm telling you, it'll be a sad day if he leaves Man City.
And as you said, he'd probably get in 15 of the teams anyway. In the Premier League. So back to Leipzig. So who plays with and we're assuming Rodri's going to start. Who plays with Rodri?
Foden.
Nunes.
Any particular reason?
Because he's a flair player. That's why Emery wants him.
Tell you what, Ethan's got a good point there as well, about Oscar Bobby. When he dropped into the centre yesterday, he created a little bit of a anarchy, didn't he?
He did. Absolutely did.
Not a bad point, that, Heath. Yeah, let's talk Oscar Bob. I think we've got a great player there. However, what I will say is let's not put too much pressure on him. We need to in my opinion, Pep needs to adopt a bit of a Foden thing with him, where dip him in, dip him out, because at the start of the season, was it the start of this season when Cole Palmer got? No, not this season. Was it last season? Yeah, it was last. Jesus, where does time go? Cole Palmer started a few matches on the bounce, didn't he? And although he started off well, as he carried, and the same with Rico Lewis as well. Rico was starting matches ahead of Walker, and all of a sudden it just started catching up with him. So the last thing we want is, any setbacks for these kids, because what we've got are fantastic prospects. But let's keep it to the word prospects. We need to support these kids because they're our future. I believe in children are our future.
But I think what Padder Oaks is saying there is, why did you not put him into your intro? He's a first teamer.
He is.
He's not.
He is.
Oh, he's not.
You go. Here's one for you, Paddy. You go back next week and watch.
Yeah, when you get your hands on that edit button, is it?
Yeah, you go back next week and watch. He's there. But yeah, I just he's already adapted three positions, hasn't he? Really, on the right, we've seen him playing on the left, and also that little pocket as well.
And he's good in there. Again, you can see the football intelligence. So you can see that he's 2-3 moves ahead at all times. He excites me. You expect stuff to happen when he's on the ball.
So, would you play the big Norwegian up front on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think at the moment the team pretty much picks itself, doesn't it?
Well, we have to play the strongest 11 to qualify out of the group. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Once you qualify out of the group, then you can play tiddlywinks for all I care. But we have to qualify first, so they can sitting here and thinking, we'll rest this and we'll rest Rodri and do this. We haven't qualified.
So I'm not going to ask for predictions because last week
we weren't even close.
I think I predicted we'd get beat 1-0 off Newcastle and 2-1 off Wolves, didn't I? Am I right?
No.
Uh-huh.
What was my predictions, Anne-Marie?
Look, I'm just looking here.
Okay. I'm sure I did, Paddy.
I'm sorry to hear. You sure as your intro?
Come on, Anne-Marie.
No, you didn't predict that, Andy. I'm sorry.
What did I predict?
I think I seem to recall you predict.
I can't hear what she's saying. Can you? I can't hear a word she's saying.
I've got it written down here, and you predicted 3-1 for City against Wolves.
That's why I don't. This guy's the wrong way around.
That's why I don't predict. Anyway, I think we'll park it there for this week. Again, thanks to everybody in the chat. Honestly, I just love the interaction in the chat. Got some brilliant people in the chat. What I'll do next week as well, I'll do a giveaway as well next week. I want to try and put a bit back into the channel as I've always wanted to. Anybody who's not members of our Facebook group as well, look us up on Facebook. We've got some good things going over there as well. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, Stan's penis enlargement goes well if they find it.
He went into surgery. Stan, he came out, Sarah.
I don't know what they mean when they've started calling Stan Acorn. Not got a clue. I'll have to think why they're calling him Acorn at the moment. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. It is always a pleasure, and it's never a chore, is it?
No.
We will do it all again next week. Have a great week, Blues.
Take care, everyone.
Right, folks.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.